Started. So hello, welcome, and thank you so much for joining us for today's webinar. It's titled Leader as Coach, Managing Through Change. So my name is Frances Sadi, and I am the Associate Director of Non-Degree Programs here at Brown University School of Professional Studies. Our mission here at Brown University School of Professional Studies is to inspire and equip leaders and professionals such as yourselves with the skills that you need in order to navigate complexity, drive meaningful change, and transform the way the world works for good. Today's talk is on managing change. And if there's anything that we're certain about in life, it is that change is ever present, whether it's in our workplaces, communities, or personal lives. But what makes change challenging isn't change itself, but rather how we respond to it. And as leaders, we're expected to adapt, guide, and inspire others through uncertainty. But how do we do that effectively? Is a good question, and we'll explore that today. And we'll also explore how do we cultivate resilience, foster engagement, and create an environment where both individuals and teams can thrive despite disruption. So we'll also talk about our program, Leader as Coach. Coaching-based leadership has been shown to enhance adaptability, strengthen relationships, and empower teams to navigate change with greater clarity and confidence. We'll also explore how adopting a coaching mindset can make you a more effective leader during times of transition. So in a moment, I'm going to hand things over to our two incredible faculty members, Robin Rose and Adam Kugajewski, who will be guiding us through an interactive discussion on leadership and change, including role-play exercises that will give you practical strategies for managing uncertainty and fostering resilience, both individually as well as within your teams. But before we dive in, just two quick housekeeping items. As I mentioned earlier, we are recording this talk, and we'll send out a link to the recording as well as the slides sometime later this week. So don't worry about taking notes or remembering all the details. And second, we welcome your engagement throughout the talk. Please use the Q&A feature found at the bottom of your screen. And you can also chat directly to Robin, Adam, and myself if you have any questions. And with that, I am very excited to introduce and hand things over to Robin Rose and Adam Kugajewski, two of our incredible faculty who teach in our Leader as Coach and other coaching programs. So Robin Rose is an associate professor of the practice of leadership and a professional certified coach here at Brown University School of Professional Studies. With over 4 decades of experience in leadership development, change management, and team effectiveness. Robin has been a key figure in designing and delivering transformative programs and in equipping leaders and the skills that they need to navigate complexity with clarity and confidence. And joining Robin today is Adam Kugajewski, who is also a certified leadership coach and consultant with nearly 20 years of experience helping individuals and organizations drive meaningful change. With expertise in aligning values with actions and fostering high performance, even amidst change. Adam has worked with diverse clients, including federal agencies, nonprofits, and commercial organizations, bringing a wealth of knowledge to today's session. Robin and Adam, thank you so much for joining us today and for offering us the opportunity to learn from you. If you don't mind, I'd love just to start out by hearing from both of you on what it was that first brought you to coaching.
Yeah, Robin, I'll start, and then would love to hear from you.
Go for
That's
it.
all right. So for myself, so as Frances mentioned, my first career, in effect, was in management consulting, doing a lot of change management work, which is part of why I'm excited for today's discussion. And I came to coaching through a couple of pieces. One was first work with my own coach about 13, 14 years ago at this point, both to develop and strengthen my leadership skills and capabilities, as well as to navigate that age-old question of what the heck am I doing with my life? What is my purpose? What are my drivers? How do I align my career and what I'm doing to what drives me? As well as the second piece that I really saw again and again through my consulting world, where I was doing change management, doing reorganizations, doing IT implementations, doing culture shifts. One of the things I saw again and again was that projects and programs, even when they had, the best answer, the best system, the best planned reorganization, whatever it was, oftentimes they would still fall behind on their schedule. That they would be over budget, be running into resistance. And then I would also see other programs and efforts that still had a good solution, but they were incredibly effective because the leaders of the change and up and down the change management team and the organization intuitively had a sense of how other ways to engage their people, their staff, their stakeholders, not just telling them what to do, but also drawing out from them what the impacts to them are, what are they most worried about, and being able to hear those pieces. So I saw those impacts myself, and so I jumped into the coaching world, gosh, 8 years ago at this point, and so I really love seeing the impact it has both on organizations as well as individuals. Robin, how about yourself?
Okay. Yeah. Well, I've always been trying to figure out what I wanted to do when I grew up. And I still feel that way. And my students look at me like in horror because it's like, oh my gosh, you're so old and you haven't figured it out yet. But I started out my career as a therapist in the counseling center at Brown. And I love that work. And there were times when I realized that insight or awareness in and of itself was not enough to actually help people move towards change. So that was kind of a nagging question in the back of my head. And then I spent about 20 years in senior leadership positions at Brown, where often, no, as Adam said, no matter how good the idea was, there's always resistance to change. And we're going to talk about why that is in a minute. But and so much of it is like individuals feeling threatened or not wanting to change the status quo or whatever. And I felt like I needed some other tools because I wasn't going to do therapy with all of my senior colleagues. But I needed some other tools for affecting change. And so I got interested in, well, what is it that coaching could offer? And what it offered is an expansion of my leadership skills and tools. It's really important sometimes to be really directive, but that doesn't always work. And coaching provides another set of mindsets and skills that sometimes can help people sort of loosen their grip on the status quo and be ready, willing, and able to move forward in a different direction. So we're going to talk about what those skills are here in just a little bit. So that's how I got into it.
I love it.
Yeah.
And Robin, I love what you touched on there too, around like thinking about leaders coach, thinking about the coaching skills that we talk about in the program and in our full certification program, where it's an expansion of tools and ways to be a leader, ways to be a participant leading from where you are. Not every conversation calls for coaching skills, and when you expand your range to be able to have powerful conversations that get the best out of people, that help them navigate uncertainty, navigate themselves, and even empower them with their own clarity. When you can meet those moments with those tools, I know in my experience, that can really lead to powerful shifts.
Yeah. And sometimes as leaders, we just get into this rut. If I just talk louder, or if I'm just more convincing, if I'm just more persuasive, then I can get people on board. And sometimes that works, but lots of times what we need to understand is like what's going on that people are feeling a need to resist. What are they afraid of? What are they worried about? What's their worst fear, et cetera, et cetera. And it's only when we understand the resistance, understand where a person is coming from, that then maybe we can help them figure out a way to move forward. So it's not always telling or selling. as they used to say in management programs. You tell them and then you sell them on the idea, whatever. Lots of times it's just being with people in a particular way to ask provocative and powerful questions, to display some empathy, etc., that will dislodge somebody from their stance of resistance. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And when I think about, change and navigating change, managing change, there's change in organizations. There's, shifts in organizational structures. There are reorganizations, there are mergers and acquisitions, they're implementing new IT systems or processes can be incredibly difficult and disruptive. The return to office, hybrid, remote work, what that looks like. So there are the organizational pieces of change, and there are also like the individual pieces of change. If I'm stepping into a new role, those are big. That leads to big changes for myself, how I need to show up. If I'm moving into a new organization or taking on new responsibilities, if I'm exploring a new career, like all of those lead to big important changes that we have to navigate and think through as an individual, both for ourselves as well as how we impact the organization. And one thing when I think about our discussion today, I come from a change management background. So the discussion today, we're not diving as much into change management as a practice. There are amazing models out there. Change management is really important. Like I say, that was my background. But looking at what are some of the additional ways that you can support yourself, support others in navigating and exploring that uncertainty of change to support people going through that change.
One of the things that's interesting is that, we can sort of see why helping people to navigate all this is important when they're resisting the change. They don't want it to happen. But coaching skills also help us to support other people, even when it's something that they want to embrace. So for instance, if somebody gets a promotion, um, that they really want it, that they're excited about, that may be a moment when the voices of inner criticism, we call it an inner critic, show up. That it often happens even for people who are highly experienced and highly competent. I've dealt with some people at very senior levels who have every sort of objective reason to be confident in their ability to take on new responsibilities, and yet the transition to a new role sort of triggers some of the negative thoughts about, am I really ready for this? Am I smart enough? Am I good enough? Am I whatever enough to do this new job? So having a coach-like approach to supporting them is often really appropriate, not just cheerleading.
Yeah, and so when we talk about change, in a moment, Francis is going to add in a little prompt in the chat, as I would love for people to respond just using the chat feature. But when you think about change and managing change, like what words, what phrases, what reactions come to your mind when you think about helping others manage the uncertainty of change or adapting to change? Thank you, Francis. So please add it in the chat. Uncertainty, absolutely. Fair says, and I know for myself, I always think about there's a quote. If anyone remembers, Niccolo Machiavelli, from centuries ago, but he has a quote saying that like there's nothing more difficult to take in hand, nothing more difficult to conduct or more uncertain in success than leading change. And I've seen stats that I mean, more than 50%, even more than 2/3 of change efforts fail. So uncertainty, I'm seeing empathy, listening, building trust. Absolutely. Fear, yes. Change creates and sparks up so much fear and worry. And the need for resilience, cognitive for resilience, also the impact of resistance, both cognitive thinking and as well as sometimes people have a visceral resistance. I'm going to dig in my heels.
I also think sometimes people just get overly fatigued. It's like, it's about the pace and the volume of change. Um, I think one of the things that's exhausting people who live and work in DC, whatever your political persuasion is now, is that the pace and the volume of change is really challenging a lot of people right now. Okay.
You know, feelings of loss, disruption, complexity, resilience, overwhelm. And when I
Yeah.
think about leaders or people experiencing change, um, it is easy for our brains to get overwhelmed. And then our thinking gets even muddled. As someone says in chat, chaotic, the muddy middle. I love that. So what we'd like to do in a moment, Robin and I are going to do a little bit of a demonstration where um, and I will be coming to Robin asking her for help thinking through a change that I'm navigating. And first, Robin is going to demonstrate how a conversation can go, leaning more into telling mode, the problem solving mode, focusing on, okay, you're coming with this challenge. Here's how you solve that challenge. And then second part of the conversation, we'll explore more like using some coach-like skills to explore that.
Okay.
And one of the things before we start, Robin, as well, is whenever we do these demonstrations, we use a real topic. We never create a fake topic and play with that. So I'm coming with a real topic that I've recently navigated in the past from work side.
Okay. So, Adam, let's jump in. What is it you want to talk about?
Yeah, thank you, Rob. So on my consulting work side, one of the things I'm navigating has been for one of my client works, I've been the deputy lead for a team of about 12 people, delivering a range of change management, communication support, other aspects for our client. And the overall lead for our team, she is going on medical leave for about a month-ish. So I'm stepping into temporarily leading the team.
Great.
And and yeah, there's several challenges going on with that. I'm trying to think through like how do I show up well for that, as well as stepping into the role, but it's only temporary. As well as like honestly, our project, we're navigating a lot of uncertainty currently.
Yeah. Yeah. And Adam, I mean, you have a lot of experience with this kind of work. So, I mean, I'm hoping that you're really excited about it because I'm sure you're good at it.
And yes, I'm excited about it. I think we're doing good work. There are pieces that need to improve. There are also challenges with the client, and we're navigating. There are always the questions of budget and how much,
Yeah. Yeah.
is our team going to be cut down, showing our value, impact, all those pieces. So yes, it is exciting, but there are a lot of just pressures that come with it too.
Yeah. Well, and there always are. And it sounds like, at least you know what you're getting into. I mean, you have some sense of that. One time I was in a situation similar to that and where I had to step in for a short period of time to lead a group. And it is a little hard because, your style might be different than the person that you're replacing for a short term. But just bring your authentic self. I mean, just be who you are, Adam. You're really good at this.
Yeah, and you hit on exactly one of the pieces that I'm worried about too is, I have some of my own ideas of like if I were running this team fully, I might do some pieces differently than are happening now. And I'm kind of wrestling with like how much ownership do I want to take here or not? It's
Yeah, right.
yeah, yeah. It's there's that balance because I will be stepping
Yeah.
back when she comes in.
Well, and did you have any opportunity to talk to her about like how much leeway, how much running room you've got?
Honestly, not too much. Like we had So our transition was more tactical focused, since we have just so many different projects happening at the same time.
Yeah.
Um, but to your point, like I have not had a chance to do yet like a sit down with the team of experts. Like
Yeah.
they know what's happening, that I'm stepping in all those pieces,
Right.
but
And your
I've not done
access
a
to her
sit
is
down.
now, you have no access to her at this point? No.
Yeah.
So it's just you and the team.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I guess if I were in that situation, I'd think about checking in with the team in terms of what do they need and
Mhm.
want from
Yeah.
you. Yeah.
Yeah. And I know like some of the team, like we are just constantly navigating a lot of uncertainty, a lot of changing direction from the client and so
Hmm.
forth. So like, it's not a client world or project delivery where like, it's a very set, clear, like you do A, B, C, D, E, F. It feels like constant changing and scrambling and resetting and so forth.
Uh-huh.
Um, so I know they would
So it
love to
sounds like
have
this
clarity, but
client, huh?
I'd say they'd love to have clarity of what we're doing, and that's just not where the client is.
Yeah. Sounds like it's kind of a challenging client.
Yes, and I mean the client world is navigating a lot of challenges themselves. Um, it's big, complex IT organization, and there are a lot of stakeholder resistance points and other aspects. So there are always a lot of unexpected challenges that come up,
Yeah.
week over
Yeah.
week. So it is a difficult client, and I don't blame the client for it.
But it
Yeah.
sounds like it is challenging. And I don't know, when I've been in situations like that where I was dealing with a challenging client, I really made sure to like check in with them very regularly, like more than I really wanted to, but I don't like surprises. And so we actually agreed that, we would check in. I can't remember what it was, every 3 days or whatever. I mean, it was
Mhm.
very frequent because I just didn't want my team to waste time going in the wrong direction.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
and we're definitely experiencing that a lot of spinning wheels going the wrong directions, and some of that is the environment, some of it is difficulty managing the client, and I mean some of it honestly is with 12 people on the team, keeping alignment across all those pieces is challenging.
Yeah.
Everyone has different ideas of what would be most impactful. So reining that
Yeah.
in
But
is difficult
ultimately,
too.
I mean, if there's disagreement on the team, ultimately you're the person in charge. So you
Mhm.
might have to make some tough decisions that not everybody's going to be happy with.
Yes, yeah, and absolutely, and like I keep coming back to like this, this role is temporary, at least for now. I mean, maybe things will change and she ends up not coming back or as things shift, but like, yeah, there's a balance in my head of keeping the ship going as it is, and because like it's just a temporary role, and what I'd love to see implemented. So I'm not sure.
Well, since you can't check in with her, can you check in with like who do you report to at this point?
I mean, I've got a solid relationship with our direct client. It's a large organization, so
Yeah.
like our direct client, um, and he's aware of some of these dynamics and appreciates the work our team is doing, and he's constantly under shifting pressures and guidance as well. Um, but I mean, to your point, like we already have a um, biweekly kind of briefing or time with him. But to your point, it might be good for me to set up a separate time because like those meetings are typically tactical focused. And so
Yeah.
so maybe to your
Yeah.
point,
I would say, if you want to make sure that you're in alignment with your client, you can't rely on her because
yeah,
she's not in the picture. So basically, keep checking in with him. And
yeah,
and he might tell you things in private that he wouldn't say in front of the whole team.
yeah, No, that's
Yeah.
absolutely right.
Adam, you've
So,
got this. You have a lot of experience here that you bring to bear. It sounds like you're a little anxious about it, but I have a lot of confidence in you.
no, I appreciate it, Robin.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah,
thanks
and
for letting
feel
me
free
pick your
to
brain.
check in again. Yeah. But I think keeping those lines of communication open with that client, the head guy, is really super important. That's what I would do. Okay.
Mhm.
Thank you. So I'm going to pause
Yeah,
that demonstration there.
anytime. Yeah, thank you both. So that was the first of two role plays. And so I'm actually going to launch a 3-question poll where you can give some feedback on how that went. And so it should show up, and I can read the questions as well. So 3 questions on a scale from 1 to 5. How effective was Robin at helping Adam? From not at all effective to extremely effective. Second question is, to what extent on a scale of 1 to 5 did it seem like Adam got new ideas or insights from the conversation? Not at all, a little, somewhat, quite a bit, or a great deal. And lastly, on a scale of 1 to 5, how committed does Adam seem to take action after the conversation? Again, not at all committed, slightly committed, committed, very committed, or extremely committed. Let's give folks a few more minutes to respond, and then we can jump into the second role play. All right, we'll wait about 30 more seconds. Thank you, everyone, for filling it out. And we'll give about 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. I'll close the poll, and we can look at the results together. So great. On the first question of how effective was Robin at helping Adam? Seems like slightly effective at 64% with some 14% of effective, but really kind of middling results there. To what extent did it seem like Adam got new ideas or insights? Again, kind of a nice curve there with most of the respondents saying a little or somewhat. And then how committed does Adam seem to take action? Again, mostly middling results with slightly committed at 50% and committed at 29%. So I'm going to stop sharing that. And then we can jump into the second role play, unless Adam and Robin, did you want to engage in more conversation around the first approach, the mentoring approach?
But
No.
but before we jump into the second part, just what I'll ask folks too is just like be thinking about, what kind of questions was Robin asking that first demonstration, and what kind of impact might that have been having? What did you notice about my reactions and my thoughts as she was asking questions? And then keep that lens in mind too as we do the second part of the demonstration.
All right, with that, I'll get out of the way. This is going to be the coach-like approach.
Thank you, Fran.
Hi,
So,
Adam. How are you?
well, I'm stressed, honestly. Appreciate you taking the time. And we'll just replay our conversation from the beginning. I'd love to get your help a little bit, Robin, as I'm stepping into temporary role with my team. I'm 12 people on this team,
Yeah.
working with a client on mostly change management, communications, and other process pieces as well. My lead is going out for medical leave for about a month, and so I'm stepping
I heard
in.
that. I heard that. How you
Yeah.
feeling about how are you feeling about doing this new role?
I'm conflicted because so it's a good client. There's a lot of chaos with this client just because of the environment that they're operating in and the demands on their organization. It's a solid team. I do is a group of 12 folks with solid team. But I'm conflicted too because well, I've been working really well with the lead and really appreciate her. Like we have different styles as well.
But Adam, I'm gonna stop you for just a second. What do you mean by conflicted?
A couple things that I'm conflicted about. One is, how much do I want to lean into kind of running and pushing the team in the direction that I think will be really the most effective from my perspective, that
Mm-hmm.
my lead, might or might not agree with, versus how much do I want to keep just keep a steady ship for this next month or so, until the
Mm-hmm.
lead comes back.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm conflicted there.
So it sounds like you're a little unsure of how much leeway you have in this new role.
Yeah, I mean it's leeway, but it's also, I don't know, there's something else. It's not just leeway. Um, it's almost like what fights do I want to pick here? If that makes any sense.
Yeah. Yeah. What fights do you want to pick? What
Hmm.
are you what are you nervous about, Adam? What are you concerned might happen?
One thing that comes to mind is, if I take certain things a different direction, and then when the lead comes back, then we have to do, if she pulls it back into old direction or different direction or so forth, like that's
Mm-hmm.
we're already in a chaotic environment. I feel like that just
Mm-hmm.
adds even more bouncing around. It's like that builds more frustration for the team and difficulty and stress. um
And what impact is all this having on you right now? You seem kind of stressed.
yeah, no, that's right, I'm stressed. Yeah, because like there's the stress of like just the normal stress of like this is a complex project, client, all those. It's like managing all
Yeah.
that is stressful just in and of itself. And then there's yeah, I am stressed thinking about how much I want to push or pull or just keep things steady, um and that is probably impacting like how I'm showing up right now too for the
Yeah.
team, for the client.
Yeah. Sounds like you're feeling really unsure of yourself right now.
A little bit. Yes, and there's some pieces that I'm unsure of or feeling unsure of. Some of it around like what pieces I want to prioritize. But I mean, maybe there is some level of uncertainty for myself or feeling unsure about some of my ideas, because I think they'd
Mm-hmm.
be impactful. I think they would, but like so maybe there is some level of self doubt or question that comes with that too.
Mm-hmm. You oftentimes when we have self-doubt, it's because we're telling ourselves something negative. I'm curious, like, what are you telling yourself about this project?
I mean, I've been saying it's a chaotic environment and world, so I'm telling myself it's a chaotic project. I'm telling myself that some of the changes I might want to implement or the direction I might want to take, could likely get rolled right back. So then related to that, I'm telling myself that what I try to implement, if I decide to try to implement something new, like it might not or likely won't have time to take hold.
Yeah. And
And
what impact would that have on you? If let's say, you took the team in a different direction, the project in a different direction, and let's imagine that when the lead comes back, she says, well, that didn't make any sense to me. Let's go back to doing XYZ. What
yeah.
impact would that have on you?
That'd be so incredibly frustrating, and then just would feel incredibly deflating. Because there's a lot of energy that has to go into and both managing the work and the projects as well, like pushing for new directions. Like there's a deflating impact for that. There's a um, it kind of raises a question, or would raise a question too, of um, do I want to stay in this project long term then? Because it's like, and like part of my answer is yes, absolutely, because it is impactful, but like, is it, would I want to continue to stay, as a deputy lead when I
Mhm.
still clearly have very different, vision?
Mm.
Hmm.
It makes me wonder a little bit, Adam, like, what's important about, a quote positive outcome here?
Hmm.
What impact might that have, like, on your career?
Hmm. I've thought about that. That's interesting. Because I think part of it, when I think about this team, this project, like we are doing, it is an impactful role, an impactful like project. It's a complex one. It's like so part of it, maybe part of my driver here is, you know, metaphorically chomping at the bit for, hey, I want to drive, better way to do things and show that I can drive better way to do things. I can drive this team. And so maybe part of the worry in the back of my head is its impact on career if I push something without enough of a runway to do it.
Yeah, yeah. So it's like almost like you're wanting to prove yourself to somebody, to the
Mhm.
lead, I guess, um, that you're capable of leading a team and maybe going in a slightly different direction. But it sounds
Mhm.
like a question you have in your mind is, as you said, is the runway long enough? Is the time frame that you have of 1 month long enough to actually demonstrate that?
Yeah. Yeah. And your question too about what's most, important here too is, when the lead comes back, despite friction we have running project and team, like it is still important to me to have a strong relationship with her.
And what, you're worried that if you take it in a different direction, it might threaten that relationship? What's the
Yeah.
concern there?
Yeah, maybe so. And maybe the story I'm telling myself is like, if I take it too far of trying to implement a lot of things, she might come back and read that as me undercutting her or undercutting
Yeah.
her leadership or ideas.
So
Mm,
concerns, I mean, it sounds like the concerns you have are, if I take it in a different direction, there's potential to damage the relationship with her.
mhm.
I don't know how real that is, but that's one concern. Secondly, do I have enough of a time frame runway to really demonstrate that my ideas work?
Yeah.
And thirdly, maybe, some feeling about, well, is this the right opportunity? I want to demonstrate that I am capable, whatever. Is this the right opportunity? What are you aware of right now as we're going to wrap up this conversation?
Yeah. I'm aware of, I had not thought about this, think about it as a short runway. So I'm aware of, made that points to need to pick just like one thing. Because I think there, it is important to keep improving the team, but keeping that short runway in mind. And the second thing I'm aware of too is like picking my opportunities. Like this might not be the best opportunity for
Yeah.
all the
Yeah.
pieces.
So what's in the interest of wrapping up? So there's more awareness here of like what's at risk, what's at stake here.
Mhm.
is there an action item? Is there some step that you want to take that would help you decide what you want to do?
Yeah, I think what it is one, probably articulating for myself, just like writing down, like, yeah, I've got a bunch of the ideas in my head. It's like articulating them, writing them down, and then picking just what is the one or two to start. Not do all of them with a short runway. Is there one that jumps out to me that feels right to start in this time?
Steps that in terms of managing or leading the project that would be somewhat different, but not like throwing it all up and redesigning it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Exactly.
Uh-huh.
To start with just one thing, and then yeah, just start with one thing and then incorporate more when she comes back. Yeah.
And what kind of accountability might you want to create for yourself for taking that one step? It doesn't have to be with me, but
Yeah.
what support do you need?
I think for me, it's just keeping in mind how it ties to my longer, bigger career path. And
Uh-huh.
I think that's enough to keep clarity because it's not, the think about it as the long game of my career. It's not just, the next month, the next 6 months, but like how it fits
Yeah.
into the bigger path for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that'll keep me
Adam, you're
focused.
being so thoughtful about this. And it does seem like there's, from your perspective, a lot at stake here. You want to do a good job. You want to do well. And where it sounds like we're ending up is that you pick a couple of things that are sort of new strategies or new tactical steps you can take that to try it out, but not throw the whole thing into
Mhm.
disarray and starting over again when you
Yeah,
have 1 month.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And how are you with that?
I feel a little bit better about that. Like I feel a little bit of a shift for myself because that narrows down what all I need to take on. And even if my lead comes back and disagrees, okay, it's just one piece rather
Yeah,
than
right.
6 or 12 or whatever it is.
So I need to stop right now. We need to stop right now because we've got some other things we need to talk about. But that was a nice demo, Adam. Thank you for doing that with me.
Thank you, Robin.
Thank you both. And just as I did before, I'm going to launch another poll. Same 3 questions, but this time you're responding to the second role play of a coach-like approach. So again, how effective was Robin at helping Adam? And to what extent did it seem like Adam got new ideas or insights from the conversation? Here we go. I'm going to launch it now. So how effective was Robin at helping Adam? To what extent did it seem like Adam got new ideas or insights? And then the third question was the one about action. So how committed did Adam seem to take action? Give you a few moments to respond. And then if you also feel comfortable, please feel free to send some messages through chat on kind of what you noticed between comparing and contrasting the 2 different approaches. Not that one is better than the other, but with regard to how Adam seemed to respond to Robin and kind of the end result of the conversation, as well as like how well he seemed to be validated or heard in the process of figuring out action items. And with that, we can give about 30 more seconds for the poll, and then I can hand it back to you, Adam and Robin, to kind of talk a little bit about the 2 different role plays. All right, I'm going to wrap up the poll. 1 second. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Sharing the results. So we can take a look here. Okay, so for that first question about how effective was Robin at helping Adam, you can see it is skewed more towards the very effective with 55% and effective 36%. And then to what extent did Adam seem like Adam got new ideas or insights? 91% of you said quite a bit. And then how committed does Adam seem to take action? Again, seems to be skewed more towards the committed and very committed. Stop sharing that. Thank you so much for everyone for taking part in the poll. And I know we're going to save a few, about 7 minutes for me just to kind of run through the details of the Leader as Coach program. But if there's anything else you wanted to share, Adam or Robin, about the coach-like approach as it compares to mentoring.
Yeah, and please keep some of the comments coming in through the chat. We're seeing those, and I think Ferris added, kind of noticing difference between how much reflection was kind of required in that second part of the demonstration, that coach-like questions versus being told ideas in the first demonstration.
I think it's always interesting that the amount of time that we allocated to both role plays was pretty similar, but very different process, very different outcome. In the first one, and it might have been that, I mean, it's not wrong to mentor people, to give people advice. The question is, what else do you have in your toolbox? And I guess I'm curious what people think about what might be the advantages of a coach-like approach, which in this case was asking a lot of open-ended questions, acknowledging his feelings and the stress that it was creating. Like, what might be the advantage of that approach? I'd like to see some folks type in a response into the chat. Yeah. Helping Adam to develop his own self-awareness. Yeah. Setting the foundation to allow Adam to do his own. Yeah, there were some long pauses there where he was having to think. And if you're a coach-like leader, you have to work on being comfortable with a little silence in the conversation and give your person that you're talking with, your employee or your peer, time to do that reflection. So it means being a little more comfortable with silence.
And what I like to underscore with that is thinking about, especially navigating change. Yes, there are times in discussions where it needs to be focused on, hey, here are the things you need to do, or here are ideas, here are resources. Absolutely. And then other times, helping someone build that self-awareness, as someone is saying in the chat, and kind of helping me explore the foundation of, okay, how do I want to make a decision here? What is most important to me? What is my biggest challenge? Kind of creating that space to draw out my own thoughts, how much that creates an impact for me, for kind of helping me develop my own clarity to move forward.
Yeah, Ferris said leans more in the direction of learning to find your own solution. Absolutely. And, when we come to our own conclusions and find our own solutions, chances are we're going to be more committed to following through than if somebody gives us something, tells us how to do something. It also, you're trying to help somebody work their own cognitive muscles here, and emotional muscles sometimes too, to figure out an answer, as opposed to, I mean, sometimes we want somebody to give us an answer, but in the long run, in terms of staff development, developing other people, a coach-like approach to leadership really encourages people to do their own work.
And last thing I want to highlight as well, someone added in as well that the mentoring felt more like empathizing and sharing experiences so that I could learn from them. Whereas the coaching focused on me, on reflecting on my thoughts and my processes so I can dig deeper. And one of the things we oftentimes say when we're teaching the Leaders Coach course is, for us, mentoring the problem solving. If this is the problem that I have, that I'm coming to Robin with, all the attention is here for the mentoring. And sometimes that's needed. Hey, let's solve this problem. The coach-like approach is focused more on, okay, what is your relationship to this challenge? Let's help you explore, keeping the focus on me to do that, build that awareness, do that self-reflection, so that I can come to my own solutions for how best to solve this challenge in front of me.
You know, when I look back on my career, I wish that I had asked the following question more frequently, which is, what do you think? What do you think? What is it you want? Because I think that those are questions that really help grow somebody. Question here, how is coaching different for change managers than anyone else? Want to take a stab at that,
Yeah,
Adam?
we're up when then we'll let Fran do. I know you need to run through some of your information.
No, no, go for it. That's what
And this is actually one of my little passion area too, about the intersection of change management and coaching. I think they are incredibly complementary. They're different. Change management and like the driving change has powerful frameworks and skills, and the ability to also shift into coaching or coach-like skills can have a tremendous impact for helping shift resistance, for helping build awareness. And for anyone interested, in the last year or two, the ICF, International Coaching Federation, worldwide certifying body for coaching, and ACMP, Association for Change Management Professionals, actually did a collaborative effort looking specifically at coaching and change management as well. There's a lot more that's going through my head I'd love to dive into, but in service time, I'll just point there. And Rob, unless anything else that you want to add to that, Fran can run
No,
through
I
her
want to pass
pieces.
it to Fran to wrap things up here, I
no,
think.
it thank you both. It's a good conversation. And I'm going to switch gears and share my screen and talk a little bit about our Leader as Coach program. And then if we have a few minutes, we can wrap up with maybe another question or two. So, okay. So if you visit our website, you'll see that we do have a short course here at Brown called Leader as Coach, and it's exactly that. It's a structured program designed to give you an opportunity to practice these skills that we demonstrated today, and to develop confidence and competence in leading through a coach-like approach. And so I won't go into too much detail over this because we kind of touched upon it already, but I do want to touch briefly upon why coaching matters so much. So this slide here, something that always stands out to me is just that in today's modern workforce, we really are facing unprecedented leadership challenges. And the way that we're doing work has never changed so quickly. And so because of this, we're constantly having to evolve and reinvent the way that the world works and how we do our work. And it's exhausting and incredibly challenging to be both a productive and an engaging worker. But being a coach-like leader is one of many possible solutions, both to increasing our worker engagement, but also as a way to provide real, tangible, measurable, and noticeable differences for yourself and for your organization. And so the coach-like approach really has benefits at two levels. And the first is that it can really benefit you personally. So when you're a coach-like leader, you'll find that you're better able to manage change for yourself. There's evidence that shows that emotional intelligence goes up and that you can become a more effective worker. Not only that, but your perspectives can broaden with this coach-like approach, which is really key because that shift allows you to tap into the wealth of perspectives. So you're not just going and relying on your own experience and knowledge and wisdom, but the perspectives and knowledge and approaches of those around you, allowing for a more balanced, innovative approach. And then, in addition to having individual benefits, there's also proven benefits of being a coach-like leader to your team and to your organization. So coaching helps you build trust, balance relationships with results, and retain talent and improve influence within your organization, both vertically up and down. In fact, a PwC report found that the mean return on an investment on executive coaching is 7 times the initial investment, which is really very few leadership programs come anywhere close to that return. Okay, so I'm going to jump into some of the details about the actual program, and feel free to email or reach out afterwards if you still have additional questions. So if you visit our website, you'll see that we offer the program in 2 different formats. So we've got both an in-person offering as well as an online Leader as Coach program. So the idea behind that is that it really allows you to choose your own adventure, selecting the option that works best for you based on your own learning style, needs, as well as logistically what might work best for you. So starting up next Tuesday is going to be our online course, which consists of 7 weekly sessions. It's going to be held on Tuesday evenings, 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And so this expanded format really kind of allows you for a more gradual approach, with consistent opportunities to actually kind of practice and apply what you're learning in between each weekly session. Whereas the second option that is more of an intensive in-person experience. So it's 3 days offered here at Brown University on our Providence campus. And that's going to take place April 16th through April 18th. And so it's much more of an immersive experience. So looking here, this is the detailed schedule. You can find it online as well. And here's the in-person. It's 3 full days, 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And so what I will say about the 2 different approaches is 2 different formats, but the content itself is exactly the same. So it really, you're going to get the same programming, both approaches, but really whatever works best for you logistically and also for your learning style. So a bit about the content itself. As you can see, the course consists of 6 modules. So the first is the coaching foundations. So in this module, you'll learn why coaching matters and how to create safety and trust within your team. You'll also learn the difference between coaching and mentoring, as we demonstrated today, and begin to build a coaching mindset to get ready for the rest of the program. Module 2, active listening and questioning. You'll develop the skills to truly listen and ask questions that drive to a deeper understanding. In Module 3, you're going to learn concrete coaching skills and begin to master the structure of a coach-like conversation. By Module 4, you're going to be invited to take a step back and actually think about your values and purpose. And by doing so, be able to really make sure that when you are actually practicing these coach-like skills, that you're grounded in your values, which is really critical because it allows you to be able to be making the best choices that you can, aligned to your values and your organization's values as well. It also is critical because then it allows you to more authentically connect with others, to be able to use coaching to build resilience in yourself and your team, which is really needed at this time in our lives, in our country. Module 5 is called Reactive to Creative, which helps participants identify when they or their colleagues are operating in that kind of survival mode, fight or flight or freeze. And it provides tools to shift from being reactive to actually being able to approach things with a more creative problem-solving mindset. So by recognizing patterns, as I said, of fight or flight responses, and then taking a step back, participants can then make more thoughtful, innovative decisions that lead to better outcomes and increased productivity. And then the last module looks at sustainment, application, and integration, which really allows students to practice and embed the skills that you're learning through real-life applications so that it really becomes second nature. Something that really is unique to the Leader as Coach program here at Brown is that it's really taught. It's an incredibly participatory program. So throughout the course, there's a great emphasis on hands-on learning. You'll participate in exercises, reflections, and real-world practice sessions that really not only allows you to learn the skills, but really reinforces those skills so that as you leave and go about your work lives, that those skills that you've learned really stay with you for the long course. By the end of the program, you'll have developed these 4 outcomes. So first, the development of multidimensional leadership skills suited for today's complex, ever-changing workforce, the capacity and skill to foster meaningful interactions and trust, techniques to empower and motivate your team, and lastly, strategies for navigating complexity with clarity and confidence. So if you are interested in enrolling in the Leader as Coach program, here are our deadlines. So for the online program that starts next Tuesday, I was told that you can actually sign up anytime this week. So if you are interested, feel free to log on. I can drop the registration link into the chat in a second. And then for the in-person session, you do have a bit more time to think about it, since it's going to be taking place mid-April. And then we do have a one-time discount code that's there, that would get you 10% off as well. Let's see how we're doing for time. I can end the
We're
slideshow.
right at
Right on
time.
the money here.
Yeah, I was trying to add a
Oh.
few or answer a few questions in the chat as well as share. Someone had asked about the information I'd mentioned about ICF and ACMP.
Yeah, thank you so much. And as I promised, let me just drop the enrollment link, the program link into the chat, as well as I can give my email. So if there is any other questions that you have, feel free to reach out. But otherwise, we thank you so much. Thank you, Adam. Thank you, Robin, for your time today.
Happy to
And
do
those
it.
of you to take time out of your busy schedules to join us. We'll send a follow-up email with the link to the recording as well. Any closing remarks, Adam or Robin?
No, come join us.
Yeah, come join us. I always love teaching this program and seeing the light bulbs go off for people about new skills, just expanding toolkit.
Yeah, exactly.
Good. Well, thank you. And hopefully we'll see you in one of the programs this spring.
Have a great day.
Here, everyone. Bye-bye.